10-word answers can kill you in political campaign. They are the tip of the sword. Here's my question. What are the next 10 words of your answers? Your taxes are too high, so are mine. Give me the next 10 words. How are you going to do it? Give me 10 after that. I'll drop out of the race right now.
Welcome to Also Consider This, a podcast that is here to, well, hopefully share knowledge for deeper and broader understanding of the world. And yeah, it's our first podcast. And why are we doing this? Well, we
I
are...
think we have been thinking about doing a podcast since like we had our first ever
Yeah lah, and I think we have...
iPod.
Yes, we like to talk about things in a very
Esoteric way.
historical contexts, geeky facts,
Yep.
linking things, and then kind of like a Wikipedia rabbit hole that you go on. But I think the way we intend to speak is not so rabbit holey, in the sense that I think we'll try to keep it to a point. If not, you'll get lost. I think as a listener, you'll probably get lost, but we'll try to do our best to make things have some strong form of structure. So I think, yeah. So first thing is, I think we just talk about what we are here to do, right? And sort of like where we hope to go,
Yeah.
right? So I would like to start with what we feel are important values for what we want to put into this project. So the first thing is sharing, right? I think this is a very political phrase, but nobody has a monopoly on ideas, right? I think there are various ways to look at things, right? And what we've learned before and what we've experienced before shapes us in terms of how we view things. So that's the first thing.
I think for me, curiosity is one very big thing. I think I'm always curious about how the world works, be it like how things work. Even though I didn't really go into the field, but I think it's more of really understanding what makes certain things tick, or how certain things come about, or why do certain things are in this manner. It's not just new knowledge, but like existing things, like we see day-to-day things, like why are things in that way or function in this manner, or why are we doing things how we do things usually. Sometimes, most of the time, I'm quite curious about all these, how all these things work lah. So I guess that's part of why we are doing this, is that it gives us an avenue to be able to explore and have a legitimate reason why we are doing this, or not just legitimate, but like rather it gives us an avenue to be able to explore in a way that ultimately it's not just like going nowhere, but it's like it's a more directed way of us being able to explore new ideas and new knowledge lah. Yeah.
I mean, I like to jump in on this lah. I think one thing that pops up in my head when you say this is that it's how these things that we observe, or these things that we absorb or learn off, sort of connect into our lives, right? I mean, on this point, I think some may say that what you've just described is a very abstract way of putting it, but and probably I feel I can help to make it more real by giving like a bit of an example. So like today I was having a conversation, and somebody asked me like, oh, have you seen this show and that show on Netflix or whatever?
Yep.
And I just directly said like, is it fiction or non-fiction? And the person said it's like fiction. I just really said I really am not interested in watching fiction. Like I don't care for very much like fictional TV shows, except for like probably the odd Marvel movie and things like that. Because my default free time activity is to watch like documentaries or explainer videos of things.
Yep.
Right. So and I'm just curious. My default entertainment is basically kind of like general knowledge learning kind of things.
Yep.
So and I like to and to me that's enjoyable.
Yep.
Right. So one example is I was talking about, oh, you know, like recently there was this documentary from B1M this YouTube channel B1M, they were talking about actually the deepest MRT line in Singapore. And
Right.
why is it got to be so deep?
Mm.
And the reason why it's got to be so deep is because it's a cross island line. The cross island line goes in between the reservoirs in
Yep.
the middle of the island, and it has to be that deep because of conservation.
Yep.
Conservation concerns, right?
Yeah.
And because of that, you will have an MRT station that's even deeper than Bencoolen at Pasir Ris. Although Pasir Ris is like on the edge of the island, but because the line is to be deep, so that station is got to be super deep. So I mean, these things are like interesting in one way, but also I think it connects to our lives in the sense that it's gonna be part of our infrastructure and our day-to-day living, right?
Yeah.
So I think that is that's a big element of what we enjoy, and that's what we are here to share
Yeah.
also.
Cause I think this is doing this podcast is also kind of like a natural evolution of what comes out of our conversations, because I think since we got to know each other, I think we kind of like most of our conversations are rooted in like, oh, today I found out that, oh, this thing happened, or these things, or it could be a current affair thing that it kind of like
Yeah, and
sticks
like
out to
or
us
the
then.
other day I actually I linked to this other thing that I heard
Yeah,
of like
correct.
many years ago, and it's like actually hey, there's a connection there, and it could be something as pointless as like the number plate system in the UK.
Yeah, I know that one.
That's the weird thing I do not need to know, but I somehow know.
Yeah, you have gone into that multiple times, because I remember taking a road trip with you in the UK. Then you were like driving, then you're like pointing, oh, that's from where, or this is the what series. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so
I know some people will find some of our stuff quite boring or dry, or but I don't think we'll really apologize for that.
Yep.
We may choose to prioritize things that are more interesting to more people. But, well, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yep.
And then I think that we move on to the next one that I would like to pick on, respect and good faith. So Tong Yi in his lecture has defined respect as like, you matter to me, like you pay respect to a senior or a higher ranking officer or whatever, because that position matters to you, right? You respect the company sergeant major because he's going to sort out logistics to make sure you sleep on the bed, in the camp, right? So that kind of thing. So that's one element, right? Assuming that the person in front of you matters to you in some way or other, right? I think that's the first thing. But I think the other thing that really hit me recently is this thing called good faith arguments, right? I think a month or so ago, Mehdi Hassan went on to a debate YouTube show with like 20, some say far right, some say fascist, some say Trumpian people who basically were arguing with him on points, right? And I think one of the big things I got out of it was this thing about good faith arguments. Good faith arguments are arguments where people are there because they are not just out to trample on each other, but they say things because there's a genuine interest in one, trying to shape someone else's ideas or influence someone else's ideas, but also be willing to change your own points of view, your own ideas based on new facts or alternative facts that are put in front of you.
Yep.
Right? And not assume that the person in front of you is there to just denigrate you, or for you to be denigrated the other way.
Yep.
I think this matters a lot because we have aspirations to have guests. Right?
Yep.
We have aspirations for guests. We have aspirations for people with differing views.
Yep.
Right? And I think it is important that despite whatever views we have of that person's view of the world, and the person's conduct maybe, I think if the person has given us the time of their day, then they should be given the respect of at least a good hearing.
Yep.
Right.
I think for me it. I remember watching a CGP Grey video where I think he quoted someone else, or was it his own realization or something like that. But he said something along the lines that, like, if you want to always be right, then you must be willing to change your opinion on something.
Yep.
So which I find quite yeah, it's quite true in that sense. That yeah, sometimes we have to be willing to admit that yeah, my way of doing things may not necessarily be the best, or my understanding of certain things may not necessarily be the right way to see it.
I think a good one thing that we always talk about, right? I think that is a good reflection or a good example of this is, I think the scientific community tends to get a bad rap in the popular press or popular culture because the science is always viewed as an authority, right? So like when the science says that one thing is one way, people always assume that the scientist or the science community is trying to impose a view on that, right? So I think, like for example, COVID had a lot of different changes in advice measures and advice, right?
Correct.
Because the scientific community had a certain consensus at a certain point in time.
And of course, we were fighting an
And
enemy that is shifting and things like that. Yeah.
and the thing is that I think one thing that is always, I feel, is generally not very well played up in science is that in our conversations is that actually science is also very willing to say that we only know so far, right? And you may have a certain point, or you may have a certain theory or conjecture as to what something may be. So like there are many people who say that if you drink something out of a plastic cup, you are getting microplastics into your system,
Yep.
right? Generally, the science basically has said that BPA leaches into water,
Yep.
right? But it has not found out if other plastics can, or other plastic compounds can leach into the water.
Yep.
But some people just assume that because they have a certain point of view, they assume that all plastics are going to leach into water, but it's not definitive.
Yep.
Right, and I think what matters, I think, as I was watching a James Hoffman video on the AeroPress recently, right?
Yep.
It's like, okay, yes, it may be true. The one that's definitely sure is the BPA thing.
Yep.
But other plastics may or may not be true. We don't know for sure.
Yep.
But I think we need to at least have the respect that if somebody chooses to live their life a certain way that is not harmful to another person, then I think a level of respect is necessary for us to show to the next person.
Of
Right.
course.
Yeah.
And
this is something that we would like to put into our interactions amongst ourselves, and also with people who interact with lah.
yeah, and I think also is that coming back to the idea of like respect and also curiosity is also the idea that I think sometimes there's a lot of nuances to things in the world, especially in like short form media nowadays, is that because we want to consume like things on the fly, or like we want to get the TLDR things to it, that we sometimes misses out on the nuances
Yep.
of things, which then actually is where the ultimate gist of the thing could lie. For example, like COVID, like we are like during COVID, a lot of times you are looking at the one-liner answer to things, but if you really go into like certain things, there's like a lot of things cannot be answered in a one-liner. And I think one of my favorite TV shows, which is The West Wing, then there was one episode where like the fictional president, when he was running for re-election, part of the debate process that he had with his opponent when he was running was that, so it was a televised debate format, right? So like his team was like trying to help him prepare for the debate for the whole past week. So that whole episode was like trying to chronicle his whole like process of how he's preparing for a televised debate. So then they were trying to churn out like sound bites, so that he can respond in a way in the televised debate, so that he's able to like give out sound bites, so that later when the media or his party media and whatever the way they want to like project the campaign messaging was that, so that they can like
Get a slam dunk, so to speak.
yeah, kind of, and then trying to get like all these sound bites so that they can continue to spin the all his campaign further. So I think it's part of it's I think it's part of American politics that's like the nature of their politics is this way lah. So
Well,
then
the nature of media in regardless of whether it's social media or otherwise,
it's also
it's always the headline
yeah,
now.
correct. So it's like
Regardless of
they're
whether
trying to.
it's
So the idea that they were trying to look for is that they're trying to look for these things called like 10-word answers. So it's like so when his opponent finally replied like a slogan or like a thing, then he says like, then he knew like he kind of like got his opponent there because his argument is that be it politics or be it life in general is that there's a lot of nuances and we can't just rely on 10-word answers or like the TLDR idea behind it that so he said like 10-word answers can kill you in political campaign. They are the tip of the sword. Here's my question. What are the next 10 words of your answers? Your taxes are too high, so are mine. Give me the next 10 words. How are you going to do it? Give me 10 after that. I'll drop out of the race right now. Every once in a while, there's a day with an absolute right and an absolute wrong, but those days almost always include body counts. Other than that, there aren't many unnuanced moments in leading a country that's way too big for 10 words. So I think that whole quote actually captures the gist of like how I view a lot of problems, especially with like how we look at information nowadays. I think especially through the period of COVID and then where TikTok started to blow up and stuff like that, and all the short form content that we are watching and we are consuming is that we are always looking out for like all these like quick answers, like which is kind of like how we have been also utilizing ChatGPT for.
However, I have to say that there's the it's not all just one way traffic when it comes to this.
Yeah.
I feel that the reason why we are sat here is because we are here because we have consumed other content that is not like that.
Yeah.
We have consumed a varied source of content, be it something that is within a 20-minute show or a 2-hour show, right? We have seen how this, especially the pod medium, can change how we view things, right? I think one big example is how Donald Trump, when he went onto Joe Rogan, he seems a little bit more human.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in some ways, as much as I don't agree with many of his worldviews, there are some things that he is objectively right, in the sense that he says that he says I'm not a political animal, right? Donald Trump claims that says that he's not a political animal. He's not a natural political animal in the sense of like what you see in the West Wing or what you see in the last 20 years or even 30, 40 years. But because of that, it also means that he is targeted as a different animal in that crowd. And therefore the treatment that he gets in the various institutions is vastly different. Right? And therefore it did humanize him to some degree.
Yep.
And it also can, if you think about it, it can explain why he is doing all the things that he's doing that is so what some people call anti-institutionalist.
Yep.
Right?
Like drain the swamp and all the other stuff since 2016.
He's basically killing off a lot of institutions based on the way they were working, right? Regardless of whether you agree with them or not, which for a start, I personally don't, right?
Yep.
But you still see why. And I think seeing the why matters, because if you just dismiss and just cancel, it doesn't work that way.
Yep.
You cannot just bury this movement as if it's like some villain in a Power Rangers movie.
Yep.
Right? It doesn't work that way.
But more of like what you said is like more of like by hoping to see things in a more in-depth manner. It's like we seek to understand the why rather than like instead of just
because then
dismissing it like
we can talk about how we can change the world, right? Like how we can change our world in our sphere, right? We cannot. I think we cannot just assume that we are going to all change the world in that drastic manner, that heroic drastic manner. But I think we can influence our own spheres, right? And I think that matters. And to his credit, Joe Rogan is also a fan of Bernie. Bernie Sanders. And if you also bother to spend the 2-3 hours or the many hours that he actually spent with Bernie Sanders, you will actually realize like Joe Rogan is actually not exactly a pure Trumpist.
Yep.
right? He has certain beliefs that he feels that certain politicians can bring about or push for, right? And therefore, like if you are just seeing Joe Rogan purely as a
As a loony
as
or
a loony Trumpist or loony MAGA, then I think it's way too simplistic a view,
Yep.
right? And we are here to just point that out as in
which
general.
I think that is something that like kind of like grinds our gears, I think.
Yeah, which also goes to like the next point I want to make is like the point we want to say we want to be it's about humility in our values, right?
Yep.
Is that we used to think, I think I can speak I can speak for myself. I feel
Yep.
that I used to think that people like Trump are complete idiots, right? But that they have totally no valid views whatsoever. But if you sat there and it's very hard to put yourself through a 2-hour interview or 3-hour interview of somebody you don't really like.
Yeah.
Yes, it's on the surface. Why would I want to give 2 hours to a person who talks about grabbing women's body parts?
Yep.
Right. But I think there are certain points that if I don't have that humility to say, okay, this person has been ultimately been elected to be the leader of a superpower, and therefore if I should at least give a care of what he thinks or how he thinks, and at least my worldview will be also a bit different. Right, that humility I think is necessary. If not, we're just gonna be trapped on the invisible lines that the social media algorithms push us through.
That's true. I think also it's part of the process is also that there's gonna be times where it can get uncomfortable in the sense that like we may have to listen to certain viewpoints that may not necessarily align with ours.
Yeah,
But we just learn to be better listeners, I guess.
yeah,
Instead of just like
and better thinkers.
yeah.
Yeah, it just hit me based on what we just talked about, right?
Yep.
What it just hit me is I think we really I got a title for this first episode already.
Okay.
It's like thinking about the world differently,
Yep.
right? I think like
It's
this
kind of like ripping off the
what?
the Apple slogan.
Oh yes, but we have more words.
Yeah.
So more is more.
Yep.
Yes. If you have you heard of Ingrid Malmsteen? The crazy guitar virtuoso. He basically said it's like more is more. It's there's no such thing as less is more. Yeah, so I think that's roughly what we're about. We have certain ideas of how things may be, right? We are fans of Vsauce, although don't know whether he's gonna come back ever again. But we like the idea of like linking one idea to the next idea to the next idea. So it does.
But even though we might not do it in as smooth as he does it,
But he gets to write a script. We don't. We just talk only. We
that's true.
just talk, right? He gets a script. But the interests and hobbies that we will bring in are quite varied, right? So generally speaking, current affairs, history, sport.
Yep.
Yeah, and sport sport. When we say sport, we're not just talking about Premier League football or international football. Like there's more to life than just. There's more to sport than just football.
I mean we could line up a few people who will talk to you about why they would spend 5 hours watching cricket. Yeah.
No, more than 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have recently learned, at least to some basic degree, how to watch cricket properly.
Yeah.
And I think that matters.
Yeah.
Because it's different. Like life is different when you learn how to watch cricket. Yeah.
Maybe not live. I don't think I can afford going into a cricket ground to watch a 5-day test match.
No, you don't actually need to watch all 5 days of it. You just need to like be in the lecture, and then the lecturer will ask what's the score now, and then during the Ashes, and then the lecture, and then somebody in the lecture says that they just 300 runs to go. Yeah. If we've just lost people's attention through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah. So this is not a cricket podcast.
It's not a cricket podcast.
Just to preface this.
Yes.
But we do have quite a wide range of stuff that we will talk about. So I guess
we don't know where this will go topic wise, but I think we have a rough idea of how we will tackle things that we see and what we're talking about.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I think we just want to say that like thanks for giving us that time to explain ourselves and what we are. If we are not what we claim to be, we also be really, really called out. I think we're setting ourselves up to be called out also. And I think that's something
Yep, kind
this
of.
is something that I am willing to be called out on. I think
Yeah.
it's a fair way to be called upon, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because I think this will also I feel this is the part where we get credibility to talk to people who we really aspire to talk to,
Yep.
right? We could continue to just talk to ourselves amongst ourselves at a coffee shop, but I also be very selfish and say that the reason why we're doing this is because we want to talk to more important people than ourselves lah.
That's true.
Yeah, so hopefully we get there, and yeah, so and this is just a start of
Hopefully more things to come. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So okay, now we just the main topic of the day is just talking about ourselves and where we want to go.
Yep.
Right. And we want to start closing traditions because we are so unoriginal people. We just want to have closing traditions like other podcasts. So we will not, for example, ask our one guest to write the question for the next guest because that's just a pure ripoff. We will also not talk about one shoot things.
Okay.
Right. So but we talk about something that we would normally do anyway. In fact, we wanted to call the podcast this title, but I think it's a bit too shallow, so to speak.
And it's a bit too unoriginal also, so we
Yeah,
didn't
and
go with that.
it could be somebody else's podcast title also. So
Yeah.
So the segment is called Today I Learned. It's not just a phrase that you pick up elsewhere.
Yep.
It's something that randomly happens amongst our wider group chats.
Yep.
Right. So because we are just so boring that way. All right.
Yeah.
So today's episode is brought to you by Very Boring That Way.
Yeah.
Just doing what we did, what the hell we want to do anyway. Yeah.
And that's another reference if you caught that.
Oh, yep. So do you want to start first or I go first?
I think you can go first.
Okay, I start first so you got some time to think. See, I'm so original in saying that way. So recently, right, I'm starting to get into this very dreadful mind pit of a hobby called coffee making. And the positive thing is I haven't been able to secure the espresso machine of my choice yet. So I was watching one of the many videos of our great coffee messiah James Hoffman's videos.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I learned that espresso is a thing that started in Italy, right? And it blew up. It blew up in Italy. It got bigger in modern specialty coffee. Espresso blew up through like the Aussies. So we've heard of the latte, right? In traditional terms, latte actually is very, very milky espresso. You barely taste the original lattes. You barely taste the coffee in there, right? And there's like flat whites. Flat whites are an Australian invention. I think most people probably know that. It's a Melbourne thing.
Yep.
It's Aussie Kiwi thing. And so today I learned that cappuccino is not an Italian word per se. And it's not an Italian invention per se.
Okay.
So cappuccino actually is the word cappuccino is the drink is invented by the Austrians in Vienna. So Vienna, is also another center of coffee influence, right?
Okay.
The coffee shop or the coffee house is a huge thing in Vienna. Or neat coffee stalls coffee shops restaurants that people go and sit in for an afternoon to read their newspapers.
Yep.
But the point is, the color of cappuccino is the reason why it's called a cappuccino. The brown color. So there are these friars, these Catholic monks called Capuchin friars, and the Capuchin friars is because the color of the cappuccino is matching the robes that the friars wear, the Catholic monks wear. These brown robes that they wear, and therefore it's called cappuccino. Right now, that sparked a bit of a rabbit hole because for some reason we have a friend who is a friar, but he's not a Capuchin friar. Right, he also wears brown stuff. And his order is called the Carmelite order, and so I went to dig further. So the difference is, Capuchins are supposed to be very austere people. They live their lives in very simple ways, no ornate things in their lives, right? So how do you tell the difference based on what I read lah? How do you tell the difference between a Carmelite and a Capuchin friar? Is that a Carmelite friar wears a white hood on top of their brown robes. Therefore, they're called white friars, right? Now, this is only as far. This is a very surface level of understanding, because I think we have a source of information that is
Better
that's more authoritative than what we
Google,
can say.
yeah.
Yeah, not better than Google, but more primary source than ourselves.
Yeah.
What Google can give us. So yeah, so cappuccino is basically from
Austria.
Austria, and has links to Catholicism, much like beer in Munich. Yeah,
Okay, but that's a topic
that's
for
a
another
different
time.
thing altogether. But yeah, so
Yeah.
today I learned that's how the word cappuccino
Okay,
came about.
so my turn, right?
Yeah.
So today has been quite an interesting day because I finally upgraded my home broadband. I think I've been the most minimum plan for like the longest time. So my ISP kind of like reached out a few months back to say that okay, like
Wait, before you go on, how minimum is minimum?
like I think previously I was on 300, then 300 don't have, then
Mbps.
then it pushed me to the 1
One.
Gbps. So now 1 Gbps is not even the minimum. So the minimum now is like 3, right?
So you're basically effectively running off like a 512K modem in modern terms.
Yeah, but it's good enough for most stuff. So it's like yeah. So no, but the good thing about it was that because it was IT show last week, then like they had all the IT show deals and stuff like that. So I was like okay, yeah. So I decided to like go in, like check it out. Then oh yeah, there's a good deal because I kind of got wind of the deal through like a mailer that the ISP got me.
Okay, so what's the thing you learned?
So the thing I learned about this thing is called if you have picked up a new Wi-Fi router nowadays, if you're on Wi-Fi 7, there's this thing called a MLO, which is called a multi-link operation. So previously, right, if you have been on Wi-Fi previously, so if for the longest time you had like 2.4G, which is like your standard Wi-Fi, which is like long range, but then the speed is bad.
Can be spoiled by a microwave oven, basically. Or
Yeah,
more or
kinda,
less.
more
Yeah,
or
the
less, yeah.
microwave
Yeah,
oven will
so-
mess up your Wi-Fi.
So then after that, then subsequent generations of Wi-Fi started to have this like. So if you have opened up your Wi-Fi router, sometimes you have a dual band
the
router, so you have the
5G.
5G, which is different from the phone 5G thing lah.
Not the same thing.
Yeah, not the same thing, but it's on 5 gigahertz. After that, then there's this thing called then there's the 6 gigahertz band, which is like
Even more or less people use kind
yeah.
of thing.
So if nowadays you started using certain the certain ISP start to give you like new routers, then the routers will
The Wi-Fi
started
7
the-
stuff lah. You have.
So yeah,
And by
I
the
think
way,
it started
Wi-Fi
from
7,
6E, I think.
but Wi-Fi 7 is not all the same.
Yeah,
There's
there's
another
like dual band. Yeah, that's another whole thing.
Yeah.
But what I know is like okay, so if you set up a Wi-Fi 7 router, so it asks you to set up three wireless networks.
Yeah,
actually.
as we have where we are set
Yeah.
now.
So the thing about what is cool about MLO is that so usually you will have so a Wi-Fi 7 router when you set it up, they'll ask you to set up a 2.4 and a 5G band. Then there's usually a 6G band, and then the third band, which I think if you have some of the latest routers, is that they will let you set up this thing called multi-link operation. This is called MLO
Yeah.
network, which like it kind of like aggregates the 2.4, the 5, and the 6 into like one like network.
Yeah.
Then they will like so your phone, if your phone is Wi-Fi 7 capable, then or your laptop is Wi-Fi 7 capable, you just need to connect to that network, and then it will choose what is the best.
Basically on a Samsung you need to be on an S24 Ultra and above lah.
Yeah.
And then but the thing is that but it's basically what it auto selects the band
Yeah, whichever the band. So it's like when I got my Wi-Fi 7 router, I
Yes.
set up MLO. I went on my phone.
Yeah.
I connected to the MLO. Then it's
Yeah.
like then I did a speed test. It's like whoa.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do that I didn't do that for this network that we're running on right now. Primarily because right, I'm a more manual kind of person. And there's a reason why I do that. Because all the things that don't need the 5 gigahertz and
That's
above,
true.
I just put them all on the 2.4 gigahertz. Like the aircon, right? The aircon is a bit dumb. It's a bit restrictive.
So usually, if you do your research properly, so usually what they would recommend is that all your smart devices or all your IoT stuff that you have, like for example your Google Home, your Sonos speakers, or we are shouting out these brands not because like we are sponsored, but hopefully one day we will get sponsors like that. But
yeah.
so all these smart devices usually we'll try to sit them on the 2.4 gigahertz band. Then only other stuff, if you need the speed, then you go on the other bands lah.
Yeah. Well, to basically, if the if you're not bothered to be a geek like or nerd, right, it basically means that things in your house will run faster,
Yeah.
right? And this is an advertisement for our friend here who is currently in a relationship but not married yet, right? So this one is a keeper because if you find somebody else, right, the person may not know what he's doing, then your Wi-Fi cannot make it. Then when you're watching your 4K Netflix, right, it doesn't work, right? Who are you gonna call, right? Right. The green color telco ones, the what warrior people who say that who claim that they can do your Wi-Fi very nicely, right? Looking at the case examples, right? I think they don't seem to execute what they claim to be, lah. In my opinion.
But I
Because
also,
because wait, okay. Put it this way, they put the Wi-Fi router, right, inside the DB box. So they come in with all the whole song and dance, right, to say that they find the best place to put your base station, your Wi-Fi base, and they put it in the box, right, where all the electrical cabling is. Like, is that really the best solution?
basically you're just
You signaler, right?
Yeah.
You should know, right? It should not exactly be in there, right?
Yeah.
It's just that the best place to put it is there because the cables run out of there. The LAN wiring runs out of there.
Yeah, and also because I think it kind of plays into the idea that like Wi-Fi routers are not aesthetically pleasing, but nowadays actually with the newer generation of like stuff, it actually starts to look much better.
Yeah, they're amazing. Sometimes you can put a controller and play games out of them also.
Okay.
You don't get that reference.
Oh yeah, now I
Okay,
got
now
it.
you do,
Now,
yeah. Yeah, those are amazing. And okay, on a more serious note, right? They are computers on their own, right?
Yeah.
The amount of stuff that goes through that, right, is not you cannot chip out on it. If you're like
Yeah.
a single person, only person in the household that's using like a few devices, a laptop and TV,
I think it's
fair enough. But if like my grandfather's house, right? But if you have
tons of like smart devices nowadays, especially if you're like you want your aircon to be running on a
smart switches,
yeah.
In fact, smart switches, there's another kettle of fish. You should run them off Wi-Fi, not off Wi-Fi.
Should as much as also run wired.
No, there's another protocol that is running on. There's another protocol.
I know you spoke about
Yeah,
it.
I'm running off another. I can't remember what's the protocol called, but there's another protocol that
Yeah.
I'm running off for the switches because.
Yep.
Yeah, because I'm not just fighting for Wi-Fi signal for myself. It's like my neighbors as well.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
I think that's one of the biggest challenges.
It's a European colonial land grab,
that
basically.
Why this Wi-Fi thing has been like plaguing. I think especially because of COVID, everybody started working from home, and then we started like running into problems, and then we realized that because in Singapore our apartments are so densely packed, is that if you open up a spectrum scanner, you see like everybody's Wi-Fi is on the same
yeah, true.
band and stuff like that. So if you are really, really particular, you would actually go in and check you don't just leave it on auto. But I think sometimes we are just too lazy and we just leave it on auto.
To paraphrase a infamous quote, you don't need much space to have clogged up Wi-Fi lah.
Yeah, that's true.
So basically yes, that's it. Thanks for giving us the time of day. We've gone through like we thought we couldn't fill up time, but we've really gone through like 45 minutes of recording of raw footage. So hopefully you stay with us. We're trying to get interesting people to talk to us. If you think you're interesting, please put it in the doobly-doo on the platform that we put this up on.
Yep.
Please press subscribe because because I have a very soft ego and I need numbers to boost, and of course if somebody with only like two subscribers asks you to be the guest on their podcast, there's like, why the hell will give you a time of day? So with to copy someone else's homework, we just say that, look, if you give us your subscription, we promise to do our best to bring in more interesting conversations and bring in more interesting people to talk to us, and hopefully talk to you too.
Yep.
Right? And yeah, thanks and goodbye.
All right. Goodbye.